I'm Cal. I'm an engineering physics student at Queen's. I do a ton of stuff in the university. I work there. I'm on the space engineering team. I'm a manager. I do ADCS, which doesn't mean anyone to anything, or doesn't mean anything to anyone. But it's a lot of fun to me. Outside of school, I do a ton of stuff too. I go rock climbing all the time. I love coffee. I own like 2 or 3 coffee machines. I have one taken apart in my room right now. We're working on rebuilding that. Yeah. Besides that, not too much. Starting off, coming to university, of course, I came with an idea in my mind that, I'd come and I'd learn a whole ton, and then I'd, go off and do something great in terms of, my ideals, my goals. A lot of it's like environmental. When I was a kid, I loved the environment. I went camping all the time. And part of my idea going off to engineering was that I'd be like, I'd go in, learn a whole ton, and then come out and, change industry with my good ideas, be like an Elon Musk. But as you learn more about industry, as you learn more about the world and how things work, I sort of realized that's not altogether a reasonable expectation of yourself. Going from a small town where you're all the businesses, all the people who run them. Your idea of industry is similar. You think it's something where you can talk to people. Whereas now you realize it's not something driven by people and choices all the time. It's driven by sort of the societal changes in how society works. It's not someone making decisions to ignore something. It's the demand of the public that makes those kinds of decisions. And so it's not like I can shake society and be like, hey, get your head on straight. It's more of sort of, I think now at this point, sort of looking at myself and shaking myself and saying, these are the kinds of things that you need to do to follow your ideals. And I can't force other people to follow them or force industry or anything like that to try and make changes. Definitely sort of a gradual realization, sort of coming into university, coming out of high school, where I spent all that time working my job, working for school, trying to get the best grades, all that kind of stuff. I didn't really have a whole bunch of time to sort of explore what I was enjoying. But all of a sudden in university, I had opportunities to check out things that not just I was interested in, but also related to what I was doing in school. And so I started doing things like my design team, and I realized it was something that I really enjoyed. I also really enjoyed doing stuff like rock climbing for the first time, and that was not exactly something to do with my degree or something, but starting to realize the things that I really enjoy and really want to keep doing with my life. And realizing that I don't need to completely direct myself towards one goal to enjoy myself and to feel fulfilled. And so sort of just gradually exploring my interests in that way made me realize that I didn't need to be the person who dedicated myself to one thing. Now I'm at a point where I sort of want to take the best of both in terms of my enjoyment of what I'm doing and the fulfillment of my goals. I realize that being a single person, not being incredibly influential or anything like that, I can only do so much, but I want to do what I can to the fullest extent. And so that applies to not just my goals in terms of environmental sustainability, that kind of thing, and my career. It also applies to my personal self. So getting enough sleep, even my well-being. Going climbing, exploring that, enjoying that aspect. And then, my career as well. So taking things that I enjoy and applying them to my goals and ideals. One of the things that I've talked about a few times is the satellite team. I really love messing around with satellites and trying to understand and build components to fix problems for satellites in space. And one of the cool things you can do with that is atmospheric spectroscopy, which, doesn't mean much to a lot of people, but basically it's a good way of assessing how the planet's doing in terms of climate change, which is super, super important when you're trying to fix those kinds of issues. You have to have an idea of what the issue is, first of all. And so being able to mix my interests like satellites with things that I'm passionate about and issues that I want to help tackle, because now I realize I have to help tackle them. I can't just tackle them myself. That's what I want to end up doing is, mix everything together and do the best I can with all of it. I think that making that change for myself has had a real positive difference in my life. It sort of makes it so that I can enjoy myself and continue on the same way without, having more stress and continue exponentially more pressure on myself to try and perform. And it's kind of funny because like it's altogether a more sustainable way of living almost. And so in a way, I'm sort of going back to that sustainability goal, and I'm just applying it to myself and taking care of myself so that I can keep on trying to take care of the things that I'm passionate about.